It's Wednesday, 20th March 2024. Hello, good morning. Welcome to the news on 3FM 92.7. The bulletin is live from our studios here, number 35, Jen Hammond Street in Accra. We're live also on all our social media platforms at 3FM 927, plus on 3news.com. My name is Noble Crosby Annan. Coming up this morning, Electoral Commission confirms loss of 7 biometric devices. The minority is demanding immediate probe into circumstances leading to the loss.
I'm concerned because that devices in the hands of an unknown person can compromise the future elections that Ghana will have.
Also this morning, Presidential Emoluments Committee begins conference of recommendations on Article 71 benefits. Plus, political analyst Dr. Jonathan Asante-Okyere describes the president's posture on LGBTQ as suicidal to the fortunes of the new patriotic party going into the December polls.
And I have said time without number that every day the president is saddled with an issue or a problem or a scandal that sends the MPP gradually into opposition.
We have details of these stories and a lot more coming to you shortly. Please stay with us. Welcome to the program. Let's start the morning with this. The minority in Parliament is demanding an immediate probing to the circumstances surrounding the disappearance of a number of biometric devices acquired by the Electoral Commission. The AC at a meeting with the leadership of Parliament confirmed that 7 biometric devices were missing. Addressing the President Parliament, Dr. Kaysela Tufosin, who is the minority leader, said failure to go to the bottom of the issue could compromise the integrity of this year's election. There's more in this report.
Biometric verification devices are utilized to verify the identity of individuals whose data have been captured during the registration process. The device-based verification process will determine eligible voters on polling day. The minority leader in Parliament alleges that 7 of such devices procured by the Electoral Commission have gone missing. Electoral
Commission confirms that 7 of the biometric devices are indeed missing. I urge the CID and the Ghana Police Service to immediately issue a statement giving us the details of their investigation so far.
He indicates that the integrity of the election could be compromised if the root of the problem is not identified and addressed.
I'm concerned and worried because that devices in the hands of an unknown person can compromise the future elections that Ghana will have.
That was a report by my colleague Duke Mensah Opoku there. Away from that, President Akufo-Addo stands on the anti-LGBTQ bill, has been criticized for interfering with Parliament's work. Now, this follows the president's letter asking the legislative arm of government to cease and desist from presenting the bill to him for assent. According to political analyst Dr. Jonathan Asante-Okyere, the president's posture is suicidal to the fortunes of the new patriotic party going into the December polls.
The point is that, you see, the position of the president, I'm surprised that people are surprised about the position of the president. The dilly-dallying, as he's trying to do, you see, is very suicidal for the corporate image of the MPP. How can a president single-handedly think that his MPs, without any hesitation, have all, signed on to this? They all voted for this bill. What are you trying to tell the MPs who are the representatives of your people as far as your constituents are concerned? And I think that, you see, what is the president sacrificing? Sacrificing this particular sovereign entity for? I am not surprised. And I have said time without number that every day the president is saddled with an issue or a problem or a scandal that sends the MPP gradually into opposition.
And that's the voice of political analyst Dr. Jonathan Asante Ochire there. Well, for one of the sponsors of the bill, an MP for Boko Central, Mama Yarga, the president's posture is a misdemeanor of the integrity of Parliament. Meanwhile, member of Parliament for Old Tafo Vincent, as if was meanwhile justified the presidency's letter asking Parliament to desist from transmitting the anti-gay bill.
The President got it right. I'm saying so because it is settled law, and also in the decision of the Supreme Court, that is Ajeti versus Abomufu II, that at any point in time that an application has been sent to the court, it is deemed to be an injunction. I disagree with the minority's call that because the attempt, or if you like, an application has been sent to the Supreme Court, it is not enough to be considered as an injunction.
That's the voice of the member of Parliament for Old Tafo Vincent, as if we're there. Moving on, former President John Agyekum Kufuor has urged stakeholders to reduce any delays that could draw the country back in gains made in fighting HIV and AIDS in the country. Worried about the setbacks that characterize the clearance of antiretroviral drugs and essential commodities, he called on stakeholders to join forces to minimize the spread of the disease.
I'm all in with you, and whatever effort I can continue to give so we get the resources for those of you who can really tackle the trouble and help overcome or at least contain it, I'll gladly do. Of course, I would need to be guided, though. But of course, we know that our economy is a bit shaky. Otherwise, it's a sort of a challenge that perhaps the National Health Insurance Scheme could be encouraged to bring under its shield.
Former President John Agyekum Kufuor speaking there. Well, this week, the Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana warned that the country may run out of antiretrovirals and other critical medications for tuberculosis and malaria by May due to government's inability to clear health commodities worth $45 million at ports. But the Ministry of Health says it has started lifting containers of drugs from the port since Friday, March 15.
Currently, as at Friday, we lifted some of these drugs from the port. Records are there to show. So I may not know the source of the information they have. And in as much as they are our partners, they also come in sometimes to assist us or help us. And so maybe it's an oversight or there is another information that we want to put on our table.
Well, the Executive Secretary of the Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana, Dr. Dennis Senawuti, noted that there had been no such communication on any clearance.
I heard him saying that as of Friday, we are not privy to any containers that have been cleared on Friday, if that is the information. I think they should make it available to Ghanaians because the information we have, and this is coming from sources within the Global Fund, a plethora of issues. For us, if they have resolved some, they should be able to put it out in the public domain. Because these are issues that the Global Fund has raised with the ministry.
That's the voice of the Executive Secretary of the Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana, Dr. Dennis Senawuti, speaking there. Meanwhile, Parliament's Health Committee says it will begin investigations into the delay. Kwabena Minta Kando is Deputy Ranking Member on the committee.
Why not? I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I thought it has been cleared long ago. So we will start following up. Unfortunately, we don't have a substantive minister or deputies in the ministry at the moment.
The voice of the ranking member on the Health Committee of Parliament, Kwabena Minta Akando there. Away from that, the Presidential Committee on Emolument is calling for a transparent discussion to determine the appropriate salary recommendations for specific public office holders. The committee aims to resolve the long-standing division regarding recommendations for payments, with some advocating for an end to such payments. The Presidential Committee on Emoluments has been tasked to review and recommend changes to benefits received by Article 71 office holders. Chairperson of the committee, Dr. Janet Ampadu-Fefe, speaking at a conference of stakeholders to deliberate on review processes, advocated for a dispassionate conversation.
We want to focus on the solutions. What do we have to do? What are some of the things that we have to do to change this around? If it's a question of the timing, any suggestions as to how we can do this change and move it from the end of the last year in term, for example, it's been suggested that perhaps you could consider the beginning of the term. How do we do that? We know what the issues are. We use the term ex gratia, even though, as I said, it's not to be found anywhere in the Constitution. Why have we stuck to that term ex gratia with all the confusion that comes as a result of that usage? We have to have constructive engagements.
Now, before we go, residents of Bonsu Krom say they are terrified after witnessing the emergency landing of a helicopter. According to some eyewitnesses, the situation could have been worse if not for the experience of the pilot. One of the eyewitnesses, who later joined in the rescuing of the passengers on board the helicopter, believes the pilot had attempted to land on a pitch but saw some kids playing and so turned just one step and landed in a nearby bush.
Saw the plane approaching from afar. After the pilot has lost control, we saw something. We suspected it would be the blade. We arrived at the scene and aided the victims of the crash. We assisted 1 female and 7 males. There were serious injuries, but no fatalities were recorded.
And that's how we wrap up on the morning news on 3FM 92.7. There's more news on our website, 3news.com. My name is Noble Crosby Annan. Business News is up next. Good morning.